How's it going, Peng Pirates crew? It's your boy Adrian, and we're back with another video. So today I had some more gameplay to go over with you guys. It's going to be me versus James. I'm playing Ivankov on the left, he's playing Whitebeard on the right. And I wanted to showcase this game just because there's so much interaction that goes on with, the Newgate and the Ivankov matchup. There's a whole lot of decision making as well, because as the Ivankov player, you have to fight for board and also kind of manage swinging at the Newgate's life so he doesn't have too many cards in his hand by the end of the game, right? But also on the other side, Ivankov is really good at countering out early, but when Newgate has this huge board in the mid to late game and you only have like 2 cards to defend yourself, it's actually a lot more difficult to defend against Whitebeard rather than something like, even Zoro can be easier to defend against because of all the low power cards. But with Newgate, a lot of these cards are 6k and up, and then even if you have like a hand of 2 2ks, like that's still not going to be enough to reasonably defend your life. So what you have to do is you kind of just have to counter out early and just hope that the life that you have like saved up is enough to take you to the mid to late game. But we're starting back up here, and I'm going to mulligan my hand away. Mainly what I'm mulliganing for is, I want to see those buggies. It depends what turn I'm going, or what turn it is. Like if I'm going first, I really want to see those buggies. I also want to see Ivankovs and crocodiles, but if I'm going second, then I really want to see those Galdinos, those Inazumas. And that's something I also love about this Ivankov deck. It doesn't mind going first or second. Your curve is pretty good into either one of the turns, and it's not like there's anything bad about each turn. But I start off really strong here. I'm going to rest 1 for the new Comma land, and I'm just deciding whether I should do it or not. So I use the new Comma land, rest it to draw a card, and it looks like I draw the 6 cost Luffy there, and I'm just going to pitch away the Boa because I really don't want to play a 3 cost 1k blocker, especially into Whitebeard, right? Because if he has the 9 cost or the Vistas or even like a Nico Robin out, it's not going to be worth it to keep her in my hand. And I just really like that 6 cost Luffy that I just drew. So turn swings back over to me. I'm going to restand my new Comma land so I can use it again. And I draw a buggy off the top there. And this is kind of a tougher discard because I have 2 2k counters and a Galdino as well as a Croc to use here. So kind of a tough discard because I don't necessarily know which one I want to play, but I end up going with the Galdino because I can't really see myself playing him in the next oncoming turns, especially if I hit off this buggy here. So buggy's just going to let me look at the top 5 cards of my deck and grab any impel down type card from it. And as you can see, the hands are fire today, and I'm going to grab a Imperio Ivankov character card. This card is absolutely insane in this deck. It's going to let me summon the 6 cost Luffy for free once I play him. And then also, if I have less than 3 cards in my hand, he's going to draw me cards. But that buggy was absolutely insane. And then I'm going to end off the turn just attaching 2 Dawn and swinging 7k into James's leader. And he's going to have to respond with a 2k counter or eat this life, which he probably doesn't want to do because you want to play the 9 cost in this matchup. So he's just going to counter out early with that Otama. And I'm really happy about that last buggy because I still have the Crocodile 5 cost in hand, so I have a really nice curve of the 5 cost Crocodile into the Ivankov. So I'm sitting pretty, and then I'm just going to counter out that 6k attack with 2k. You really want to counter out aggressively with Ivankov so you get cards out of your hand. And then he's just going to play the promo Luffy, the 4 cost 6k. Turn's going to swing back over to me. I'm at 5 Dawn. Gonna restand my new Comma land, draw for turn, and then now I have just a great curve, right? I want to probably play this 5 cost Croc just to develop something bigger on board. With this matchup, you really want to fight for board in this case because you have the capacity to just swarm the board with a bunch of like 7k beat sticks. So then I'm going to play that 5 cost Croc and then probably just pass turn here. I don't really necessarily want to use the new Comma land because there's nothing that I'm looking for, right? So I don't want to be discarding a card or discarding a card that I want to play because I already have the play for 7 costs. I'm going to play the 7 cost Ivankov. There's no need to risk having to discard a useful card with the Ivankov. So he's going to swing 6k at me. I'm, of course, just going to counter 2k out of there. Swing 6k again. I'm just going to use the Alvita. And now I'm down to 2 cards in hand, which is great for me because that's going to let me use the Ivankov. So he's going to swing 6k again. Unfortunately, I've ran out of 2ks, so I'm going to have to take that one. But it seems like he's really close to all tapped out. So I really have nothing else to worry about. I was able to stave off like a lot of aggression there. And then I was just asking if James took life there, which he did. So now I'm on 7 Dawn. I have more cards than I want in my hand, to be honest. And I could always discard cards with the new Kama land, but it might just be a turn where I play the Ivankov and then play the Luffy with it. Especially since I can get rid of this 4 cost, right? So I'm gonna swing 7k into his 4 cost Luffy, but I'm gonna change my target because it's way better to swing into the 5 cost Luffy here, because I'm gonna play the Ivankov with the 6 cost Luffy here. So that 4 cost Luffy is gonna, he's gonna get bounced anyway. So I really don't want to let that attack go through. So I'm going to bounce that back to hand, and all of a sudden my board is looking incredibly strong. I had to discard 2 cards for Luffy's effect, which triggers my Ivankov leader skill to draw me 2 more cards off the top since I have no hand. And now we're looking, this is an honestly really great spot for us because we have incredible board control here. We're at a healthy amount of life, and we're still swinging for like a lot of damage here. We're threatening a lot of cards out of his hand, so he has to be careful, because if he just goes and swings at my life all game, then I'm gonna have the board to just deal with the amount of cards that he has in his hand, and he's gonna be basically put on a clock, right? So James has to really be careful with where he allocates his Dawn, where he's swinging with, whether that be like at my characters or at my leader. But he has a play in hand that it looks like maybe an ace, which is really good for him here. If he does have that, I think he's thinking about whether he wants to swing, but he decides that he's actually just going to go for board here. So he's going to play the ace, minus 3k my Crocodile and my Luffy. Sorry, there's a lot of glare, but that far right card is the 6 cost Luffy. And I'm just going to let his swing go through. I'm going to have to take that 7k. And then also he's going to swing 6k at me, which I again have to take because I don't have any cards to counter in my hand with, which is super unfortunate. And now we're like a lot more even in terms of board state and life, which is very scary for me because, if I take my time swinging at his board, when he plays the 9 cost, it's going to hurt me a lot more. So again, it's all of this decision making. It's, should I swing for the board to preserve some life, or should I just try to kill him faster than he kills me? It's a lot of thinking, honestly. So I actually have 9 Dawn up and a Mihawk in hand, so I'm just wondering what is the best way that I could get him to get rid of cards out of his hand, and can I like remove this 5 cost Luffy and this ace at the same time, because that would be really good for me. So I'm just going to use the new Kama land, or I think thinking about it, but I just want to see if there's anything I want to discard off new Kama land is what I'm seeing. Or maybe I was also kind of considering whether I should use the double attack Luffy to get cards out of his hand, but I don't want to commit so many Dawn, especially when I have a really cool Mihawk play here. Because I'm probably not in any danger of dying like next turn, especially if I Mihawk. So I'm just going to new Kama land, see what my options are. And off the top, I just grabbed that 3 cost Boa, which honestly not the best thing to see, but it is whatever. But yeah, there's just so much thinking that goes on in this deck. So sorry if I'm taking a really long time. There's a lot in terms of like, whether I want to empty out my hand and draw 2 more cards to see it. What do I want to do in terms of controlling the board or swinging face? So there's just a lot of decision making going on. So I usually take a relatively long amount of time. because all these cards are useful. I'm going to discard the new Kama land, and I'm actually going to discard 3 cards here. I'm going to discard the new Kama land, the Boa Hancock, and another Ivankov. And I do this because I want to see more cards and cycle more of my deck with my leader skill. Also, I don't think I could get off another Ivankov safely because I might just die the turn that I do it. So I end up getting rid of the Ivankov just so I can see more cards. So I'm going to swing 7k into his Luffy. So he's going to have to give me a 2k counter at least to let this go, if he doesn't want to let this go through. And he doesn't have a 2k counter in hand other than the Makino here. But he's thinking about countering out, and he's just going to counter out 2k with the 2 Luffys. And then I'm going to swing 7k into it again. He's going to let that one go through. Here my play changes a lot. So you could see that like my resolve kind of, you know, all indecisiveness kind of leaves the building. As soon as he gives me that Luffy, I just 9-cost the ace because now he has, you know, nothing on board that I have to worry about. There's almost not a better ace that I'm ever going to get, right? Because ace is there's not a better Mihawk that I'm going to get because Mihawk is a pretty risky play to do into this matchup. So he's just going to play the Whitebeard character, and he's going to swing 8k here. And it looks like 8k at my leader. So I'm going to take this and then go down to 1 life, which is very scary. But I have the board state in control. So it's going to take a lot of kind of thinking and maneuvering around this 9-cost Whitebeard to win this game. But yeah, there was no safer Mihawk that I was going to get other than that one. So of course, all my decision making kind of just goes out the window into that one play. And this is a really tough turn for me. I specifically remember this turn taking a little bit longer, but I want to fully explain my thought process with it. So I'm going to rest 3 Dawn for the Dofi because I want to see what cards I could potentially get off the top of my life or off the top of my draw, because I'm planning on emptying out my entire hand, whether that be with New Kama Land or with Luffy. So I'm just wondering the order that I should do it in. And right away, this stack is really nice to me because I see 2 Mihawks, which is going to be extremely important because 2 Mihawks is going to let me counter out 4k. And while I have the blocker on board, he actually really can't do anything unless he has something like an Otama. But I'm kind of banking that he doesn't because he did use 1 Otama to counter already. And all game, you know, I've been swinging at him for like 7k, and he hasn't countered out with a 2k counter in a while. So in my head, I'm like, okay, well, he probably doesn't have any 2k counters in hand. So I'm going to go for this Dofi play so that I can use this blocker. And right here, I'm just wondering, what is the best course of action to get those 2 Mihawks in my hand? Like, should I just do a simple play where I get the new Kama lands off? Should I, you know, exert more pressure with the Luffys if I want to allocate more Dawn? So I'm going to end up putting the Galdino on top because I need another blocker, right, to be safe here. He could still potentially kill me with something like a rush card. So my stack right now, what it looks like is Galdino's on the top, followed by 2 Mihawks because I still have the new Kama land up. So what my plan is I'm going to rest the new Kama land, draw into the Galdino so I can play it, and then have those 2 Mihawks locked and loaded on the top of my deck so that when I empty out my hand with Luffy, or, you know, new Kama land, but probably Luffy, I'm able to just grab those 2 Mihawks for counter power to live next turn. So that's pretty much what I'm going for here. I have the Dawn to do it. I even have the Dawn to like swing out. I'm just thinking about what turn order I should do this in, where I should allocate my Dawn. But this is a really tough turn for me because, you know, you kind of have to play almost perfectly here or else you die. So it's really tough for me. So I'm just thinking, you know, should I attach Dawn onto my leader, or should I attach it onto the Luffy and then try to go for like a 10k double swing, which, to be honest, I probably should have gone for, but I'm going to start off with a 9k swing into his leader. He's at 8,000 right now, so he only needs a 2k counter to get out of this one. And he has a bunch of counters in hand, so it'd be smart for him to do it here. And he's going to counter 2k out with a Machina, which I'm very surprised with. So now this is kind of telling me that maybe he does have an Otama, but he's just been kind of holding them for the right moment. So this is where my Galdino play kind of comes in. And right now I'm just thinking about the sequencing that I want to do with these swings. So I'm going to attach 2 onto this Luffy, swing 9k into his leader, and then use his effect to discard my last 2 cards out of my 3-card hand. It's another Ivankov Luffy combo because, you know, I'm never going to play these cards with the game state right now. And I feel like that's really important for other Ivankov players to deal with, where it's kind of difficult to get rid of these cards because you love these combos, right? But you have to do it in some cases because they're just not useful in your hand, right? These cards don't have counter power. He's going to counter out with 2 1Ks here, but you have to say goodbye to your combos sometimes, and that's just something you have to do. So I'm going to swing 8k I'm going to swing 8k on 8k here, and he's just going to take that. And then here's the new Kama Land play that I was talking about. We're going to pitch the Mihawk with the new Kama Land. I'm going to play over this buggy with a Galdino. So now I have 2 blockers that are going to help me out, and also 2 2k counters in hand that's going to help me live throughout this turn. And at this point, I'm pretty confident that I can live throughout this turn, because even if he plays something like an ace, he's going to still have to attach 2 Dawn for him to swing at me, which means that I could counter out 2k and then block the other hit. So I'm pretty confident that I'm going to live this turn, because I don't think there's any combination of cards that really helps him through this. But he did top deck an Otama here, which is really scary for me. And now, again, like, it's just, these Whitebeard games are just so interesting because it's just back and forth. Like, am I gonna die? I have to kill him this turn. And that goes for both players, just back and forth each turn, which I think is super interesting. And it just makes for some really exciting games like this one. So James is really just deciding how he wants to swing and potentially even end the game on this board with, right? So he has 10 Dawn up, bunch of resources in hand. He's going to play the Nami, probably fishing for a Jet Pistol, because a Jet Pistol just really simplifies his board state here. And also, I think I just straight up lose if he has the Jet Pistol, because he can play the Otama and then Jet Pistol my Galdino while Otamaing my Doflamingo and then swinging out with the Whitebeard. And he grabs the Radical Beam here, which is honestly the best choice, because if he swings at me and he can't kill me this turn, he's gonna want to leave that Dawn up so that on my crackback turn, I just, you know, I'm swinging into him at like 10k and he's just countering out with Radical Beam and all the cards in his hand. And if he's able to live throughout that turn, I'm just gonna eat it, right? So I end up making a cut here because we're taking really long with our turns because we're practicing for Treasure Cup. So we want to take the time and fully flesh out our turns, even though these are friendlies. But with that being said, James is just going to swing 7k into my leader. And right here, I'm thinking whether I should block this attack, because James has exactly 8 Dawn up, which makes me think maybe he has the 5-cost Luffy. So it might be worth it to bait him into swinging with, you know, all of his Dawn with the 8-cost Luffy, or sorry, with the 5-cost Luffy, because he's gonna have to swing 9k into me, which will require all of his Dawn. And if I'm able to counter out of it, I just have such an easier next turn to kill him. But I do end up countering here, just because that plan relies on that last life being at least any counter, right? And to be fair, I should have looked at my discard pile to see, you know, what was left in my deck or what non-counter cards were in my discard. But I decide that I should just play it safe here. Like, I should just get rid of the 2 Mihawks, because with this play, even if he has the 5-cost Luffy, you know, I'm not gonna die this turn. I end up, you know, I end up just saving it because I know he's not gonna 9-cost Whitebeard me this turn, and I think I do have the math to kind of win this game, right? Because he's gonna be at 0 life since he takes at the end of the turn, and then if I just have really good math at the end of my turn, I could end up just killing him outright, right? And with that math, it's not going to be hard to do next turn. We're going to do another cut here because, again, these turns just take so long. There's so much like math and thinking that, and just logic that has to go through these. So I have no cards in hand, but I mean, his play doesn't really change. It doesn't really matter how much Dawn he attaches here. I'm gonna use one of my blockers. So he's gonna swing 14 into my Mihawk. He could have swung again. He could have just swung out with his Whitebeard, but at this point, like, it really doesn't matter. Also, these these games were like really late in the night. They were at like 3 or 4 a.m. So I'm just gonna block with a Dofi. He's gonna take that last life and pass it over to me, and this is gonna be the last turn. You know, either for me or him, right? Because if I don't kill him this turn, then I'm gonna die. So there's pretty much like no chance of me living next turn. I also block with a Dofi, and it does matter a lot. I block with a Dofi instead of the Galdino, so I can use Galdino on this turn. Maybe even do a play where, like, if he gives me a ton of cards, like, I swing into the Whitebeard, but probably really unlikely, right? So I'm gonna swing 6k on 6k onto his leader. I just want to get as many cards out of his hand for as least amount of Dawn as possible, right? So he gives me a King Do 1k there. I'm going to swing 6k with the Galdino. He's going to give me another King Do. And at this point, I need to start taking multiple cards out of his hand. If I end up swinging, you know, I can risk it and then like maybe start swinging like 1k still, or swinging bases so that I can get like, I could get more counter cards out of his hand. But I think in this situation, I'm just doing the math in my head, and it just makes sense to swing 10 each time just to swing over the Radical Beam. But I end up making a mistake here. You guys can't hear it, but I say I'm swinging 9k here. So this is why the counter is really weird. He should drop an extra card for that Radical Beam. But again, that's my fault. And these games were like at 4 a.m. So he ends up countering out there. But that is a 10k swing, so he should drop another 1k card there. I think in my head I was really confused that he Radical Beamed here, but then because I was just like so sleep deprived, I just let it go through. I was like, oh, maybe I miscounted, but there's still a good like amount of like, there's still perfect math for here, right? So then even if these are like 9k swings, you still go again. And then if what's funny again is I say I'm swinging 9k again. So I actually don't catch my mistake at all. So he's gonna guard point and Vista, but again, like I'm swinging 10k, that wouldn't be enough. And then I'm gonna swing 11k finally, and then he's gonna guard point and Otama, which is only gonna bring him up to 11k. So I'm gonna be able to take this game, even with, you know, having 1,000 less power on each of those swings. But let me know what you guys think about this video and this matchup, and also down in the comments, let us know what matchups you want to see in the future. So that's going to be the end of this video today, guys, but thank you so much for watching, and thank you for all the support you guys have been giving me, you know, throughout my time here on YouTube. And then also, if you guys didn't catch yesterday's video, there is a giveaway going on through Monday, where all you need to do is subscribe and leave a comment down below just saying, what is your favorite thing about the One Piece card game? And you'll be entered to win a Structure Deck 6 and also a Smoker Alt-Art Leader. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching the video once again. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and good luck in anything you guys are doing. See you guys later.